has been inspiring audiences for years with his experiences and simple principles of life. As an advocate for the CF Foundation and patients with cystic fibrosis, Rheid continues to encourage audiences around the world to be caregivers to those with CF through their time, talents, and donations to the CF Foundation. Today, Rheid is delivering a speech that he gave at a private party on February 9th at the opening of the 65 Roses for Cystic Fibrosis event at the Independence Gallery in Loveland, Colorado. Please help me welcome Rheid Schloss.
Thank you, Stacy. Welcome everyone to this wonderful event. Thank you, Billy Colson, for your efforts in putting this together. Before I start, I want to thank a few people. These are donors who have made this event possible. There's Blue Sky Restoration, Kelly, Riker Realtor, Shipper Supply, and Art of the Rockies, who have all helped make this event possible. But mostly Billy. In 1965, Mary Weiss had 3 children that had CF. She was trying to raise money for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So she was making phone calls day after day until her 4-year-old son, Richard, interrupted her once and said, "Mommy, I know who you work for. You work for 65 Roses." Well, in Richard's childish way of saying cystic fibrosis, he changed the face of CF and the CF Foundation forever. Like many parents at that time, Mary was probably told that her children with CF would never make it to elementary school. But she was determined to help raise money for research. I don't know about you, if you remember the first time you heard 65 Roses, or was it really cystic fibrosis? But I can tell you, I will never forget the day I heard it. It was a cold February night. I was a 21-year-old student away from home going to school. Because it was cold outside, this cute, feisty little girl from my hometown and I had sought refuge in one of the hallways on campus. I was trying to get the courage up to give her a kiss. And in my nervousness, I kind of just said, "Sherry, is there any way that you would marry a guy like me?" Her response completely was unexpected. "Oh, Rheid, you don't want to marry me. I have cystic fibrosis." I don't know what I heard, but it sure didn't register. I did get a kiss that night, and it was a cold walk back to the dorms, and so I stopped off at the library. And I started to research everything I could find about CF. It didn't take me long because there wasn't much there. But what I did learn was that Sherry probably wouldn't live very long. That night changed my life. You see, I went home to that dorm, and on my knees I asked God how long Sherry would live. And I had a bolt of energy go through my body that reassured me and said, it doesn't matter how long she lives. And that was true. When I married Sherry, life expectancy of a person with CF was 14. She'd already beaten the odds. She was 19. since that time, I have come to get to know a lot of people with CF and their caregivers. And I've learned that they are really a unique bunch of individuals. They come in all shapes and sizes. There is skinny, really skinny, and then scary skinny. They have this unique cough that you can find them anywhere in a supermarket. I know I've used it when I get lost to find my wife. They also have this desire just to be normal, to be able to live a normal and long life. I'm so glad that parents take the time to encourage that as well. In the case of Sherry, it was, go ahead, join band and play the clarinet. Maybe that will help strengthen your lungs. Other CF patients have joined swimming clubs, have played golf, played basketball, volleyball, other types of things. They want to be so normal that they even try getting jobs at fast foods, but typically they're fired pretty quickly because they are coughing all over the food, and it doesn't go well with management. Even though they want to be normal, CFers have their own lingo. Yeah, CFers is, be careful how you say that, because some people might think you're talking about cows or something. Or maybe something worse, but CFers, they have clean-outs, tune-ups, they do treatments, all of these types of things that to them is normal, but for a person without being part of that CF community, they'd never know what's really happening. They're also a bunch that doesn't want to have something draw attention to them. It's pretty hard when you've got an oxygen pack on your back that looks like a jet pack and something stuck up your nose that every kid stares at. Yeah, that's an oxygen cannula. But sometimes they do things that just draw attention to them. Like one of my good friends, he was the oldest guy I knew up until that time that had CF. Don Wood. I wish you could have met him. Don was in his early 40s, no hair on his head. He'd sit and tell you all about his medical mishaps. And boy, did he have more than just a few. But he was always trying just to do the normal things that a dad would do. I was with him one day, hearing about his latest project where he created a zip line in the backyard for his boys. And all of a sudden I noticed that he didn't have any eyebrows. And I started to wonder, is this something that's a side effect of a drug that he's using? That's part of the clean out stuff. Or is this something to do with CF? And when you get older, you just lose your eyebrows. I had to know, so I asked him, Don, what happened to your eyebrows? Is it CF related? No, that was just an oxygen incident. An oxygen incident? Yes, indeed. I don't know about you, but my idea of seeing a person with CF is not some welding torch. But when Don was working on his zip line, he was using a welding torch. He was on 3 liters of oxygen that day, and he didn't take off his cannula. And I'll tell you, there's a reason why they put up signs that say no open flames around oxygen. Well, Don, sometimes you thought he wasn't very smart. But in Don's case, he had a flash fire up his nose, and there wasn't a hair in his sinuses and nothing on his face. You know, CFers, they have this unique humor about them. Don could tell story after story and make you laugh and cry. There was something about Sherry's quick wit. One time she was in the ER, and the doctor was asking us, "How did you stop the bleeding from your lungs?" She just matter-of-factly said, "Ice packs, prayers, and priesthood blessings." That doctor was taken back for a minute, and then he smiled and laughed. But I'll tell you, it wasn't just these two. They have to be humorous because that's how they cope. Let me tell you about Lenny. She was a senior in high school coming to our CF support group. And one day she walked in and she smelled like she just finished a whole pack of Marlboro cigarettes. Everyone in the room was going, "Man, what is happening? What are you doing, girl?" We thought, well, maybe she got a ride with somebody that it was smoking, but you kind of avoid those situations too. Finally, she just blurted out, "Yeah, I know, I started smoking." All of us were shocked. And then she said, "The sooner I can trash these stupid lungs, I can get new ones that don't have CF." Sometimes that's the logic behind this disease. Well, CFers, they're a bunch that deal with some tough things. They have to be tough. Secretly, they hope for something that will be a cure. That cure will happen within their lifetime. But they know that this isn't something that comes easy. So they keep being courageous and keep fighting day after day. I remember the first time I heard cystic fibrosis. And Billy Colson, just 8 years ago, she heard cystic fibrosis as well when she found out that her granddaughter had CF. Billy felt helpless and hopeless. How could she ever do anything to help this CF life of her granddaughter? An inspired friend approached her one day with 65 mini canvases and said, "Billy, why don't you paint roses for cystic fibrosis?" That was 8 years ago. This month we're celebrating the 8th annual 65 Roses for Cystic Fibrosis Gallery event at Billy's Gallery. Over the course of the past 7 years, she's raised over $100,000 for the CF Foundation. That's because Billy did something. A year ago, I became acquainted with Billy and her gallery when one of my wife's friends sent me a Facebook post that said she was painting a rose in honor of my late wife. You see, Sherry passed away in 2015. Complications of infection and a double lung transplant related to her CF. She was 50 years old. A long way from 14 years when I married her. Being a caregiver for these past 30 years has taught me a lot. There's things that you do, and there's things that you continue to do, and there's things that you must do to help those with this disease. Richard, that 4-year-old boy, passed away in 2014 at the age of 52. How did Sherry and Richard live so long in a disease that still takes people too soon? Most of it because of the dedication of doctors and nurses and researchers, donors and people who contribute like you, but most importantly, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Without them, many of the drugs that are used in CF today would not have come about. Being one of those caregivers and having a person with CF, I know firsthand what the CF Foundation has done, the things that they have provided in the forms of medications, of enzymes, of different programs to help them get protein shakes and things like that so that they can keep the weight on. I honor them for everything that they do. As I close, I want to share with you a story of another one person from our CF family. In 1998, Erin Torrio was born with CF. Her parents, like other CF parents, encouraged Erin to not look at this as a disability, to live her life as normally as possible and as full as possible. Erin went to school, she played golf, she swam. She did everything that a normal child would do. She graduated from high school, then graduated from CSU, and was going to school at CU in Denver to become a pharmacist. In early October, she was hospitalized for a clean-out. That's IV therapy for those who don't know what clean-out means in CF terms. Unfortunately, complications erupted. She wasn't responding to the antibiotics, and the infection continued to get worse. Higher doses of antibiotics created problems with her liver and other organs. On December 22nd, Erin passed away. Erin was 25 years old. Erin's death is a reminder that we lose too many from our CF family too soon in life. Something unique about Erin, though, with permission from her parents, I share with you 2 items of her art that she created. This is a drawing that she created shortly after she had hemoptysis of her right lung. That's a bleeding, a serious bleed internal in the lung. This is the drawing that she made just weeks before she passed away. Cystic fibrosis still takes too many too often and too soon. We still need to find a cure. I would invite you to go visit Billy's gallery, to look at the wall of roses. I hope that you will feel like I did the first time I saw that wall. Each rose seemed to speak to me, to tell me about my friends in my CF family. I hope that it inspires you, that you'll follow Billy's example and do something for the cause to help us find a cure for CF.